This is Google Nest Doorbell, and it's battery powered. And I think this might be the first battery powered one that they did, which I was looking forward to because my current Nest Doorbell that I had for a while, the battery didn't last long. So I was looking forward to trying this out and actually seeing what it's all about and see what it promises. And Google says this will last you 2.5 months of usage on battery, but that wasn't the case. Let's find out more. Starting with the design, it's quite bulky. It's bigger than most of other doorbells that you find on the market these days. But the design is very minimalist at the same time. It's very Google-esque, which I quite like. On the back, you get a USB-C port, which you get USB-C cable in the box when you buy it to charge this back up. And it doesn't take long to charge at all. So this is not something that you can replace the battery. You have to charge it the good old phone charging way. And you've got this little metal plate on the bottom of it, which allows you to hook it up onto the framing system, the plates that you have to install on the door. And what else? On the back as well, you got your speakers built in, so the speakers are right at the bottom, if you can just about see it there, which allows you to speak through it. So it's got a two-way system, so if someone presses the doorbell, you can actually speak to them, for example. And you got your camera on there, which gives you 145 degrees field of view, and you've got a microphone built in, if I haven't said that already. There's also a button which is quite large on the front, so when you press this button, which feels nice and clicky, it has this nice light that illuminates around it to let you know that you've pressed it. And once you press it, it's pretty much instantaneous when you get the notification on your phone, which I often use. Or if you got a Nest Google Nest system at home, those speakers and with a monitor on it, you can also see the person that's actually ringing the doorbell on there as well, which is pretty cool. So if you have that system in place or you're already a Google customer, then this is perfect for you as well. So you can link up to the whole ecosystem and you're good to go. The camera quality on here is 1280 by 960, so not quite the full HD experience, but it's HDR. It still picks up really good detail, and it's got facial recognition, and also can recognize when you've got a delivery man at the door with a package, for example. So it will notice that as soon as they press the doorbell, so it will notify you on your phone saying someone at the door with a package, for example. So you can decide if you want to answer the door or not. That's entirely up to you. As well as that HDR camera capture at 1280 by 960 pixels, this is also capturing at 30 frames per second, and you get 3:4 aspect ratio, which, as I was saying, it gives you a head-to-toe view for what's at your door. You also get 6 times digital zoom, and it uses infrared LEDs for up to 10 feet of black and white night vision. So at night time, you'll still be able to see who's at the door and see what's going on around the area. It uses 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz for Wi-Fi radios, so you can use it to connect to your home network with no issues at all. And it uses passive infrared technology for motion detection as well. So it's pretty much accurate when it comes to detecting what's at the door or what's within your designated area, which I'll talk through as well in the app later on down the line. But as far as designs go, I think it's quite nice. I quite like the way it looks. It comes in different colors as well, but I've opted for this white version, which looks really neat. But it stands out on the door though, so if you have it at the door, people will notice that you've got one of these. And in the box, you also get an ejector tool, which allows you to remove this easily from the door where you've installed it. And installation is very easy, pretty much straightforward. You get a wedge and a plate in the box, so if you need to angle it to different angles, or you've got different doorway that needs to be angled different directions, like mine, then this is pretty much useful. And that 145 degree field of view with a 4:3 aspect ratio means that even if you have a narrow doorway or entranceway, this is actually great for that. One thing to bear in mind though, which is quite disappointing, is this is quite easy to remove on your door. So if you just get a normal phone ejector tool, just something that's thin enough and sharp enough to fit in there, you can just dig it in there and you can remove this from your door. So if thieves find out about that, they'll be able to remove it. What's probably advantages though, the silver lining here though, is maybe you won't be able to link this to another account. So even if you stole one of these, it just means you won't be able to link it to a new Google account. So it's probably pretty much useless, but don't quote me on that. But I'm hoping that's the case, which I haven't tried because obviously I've got one. It's not stolen. The hardware installation is, like I said, pretty much straightforward. You just have to drill holes where you want it to go and just charge it up first, and then just plant it in there and just go through the setup process on the Google Home app. But one thing to also bear in mind is when I was installing this and going through the setup process, the app was quite clunky because it used to be Nest app and then Google Home now and all that confusion. So you have to download the right app and then go through the setup process. But while I was doing it on my iPhone, it crashed a few times. I then have to go on my Android device to actually set up with a smoother process. If that's done on purpose, I don't know. But eventually, I think they updated that software and stuff like that. So I now mainly use it on my iPhone, which works seamlessly. So there's no issues there. But do bear in mind, you might have some issues there during installation. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully it goes pretty much more smoother than it did from my experience. Onto the application though, let's see what you actually get. So once you've set it up and you go into your Google Home app on your phone, you'll be able to see your front door device, which I've set it up amongst other Google devices that I've got. So at the moment, it's showing that's offline because obviously I've got it with me here and it's not at home hooked up to the door. But it tells me the battery life, which is 80%. And it also tells me how long I've got left on here. So usually we'll say like 3 weeks or so. And at the moment, I'm averaging about a month worth of use on here, even with all the tweaks and settings that I've done to the battery settings to make sure that it lasts as long as possible. But the user interface, though, is pretty much straightforward and very easy to use. So right at the top, tells you the battery life, tells you it's offline or online. And then there's a settings button right to the right of it. On the center, usually you get the battery information, or you can get the live view if you like to do so. So you can check live view, or you can go to the history. So when you go to history, you'll be able to see, for example, what's been on there. So depending on what coverage you've got, so you can opt for the free version, which gives you 3 hours worth of recording, if I can get my words out, throughout the day. Or you can pay for the Google Nest Aware service, which means you can have up to 30 days worth of recording, or you can pay for the extra one, which gives you 60 days worth of recording. So if you're someone who travels quite a lot, you might want to go for the 30 days or the 60 days version. But if you're someone who works from home, or you're always at home, or someone is always at home, then you don't really need to go back to yesterday's history, and 3 hours is more than enough free with the device. So I've opted for the 60 days because I'm not always at home. So it's nice to be able to go back further than three hours to see what's actually been done or who was at the door. On the history, though, you can have a look at the timeline, or it can even give you the event details. And if you go to event details, it will tell you who was there, seen or heard, if it was a person with a package, how long they were there for, which is more than enough that you need. Or you can go to full history, which then gives you like a longer list of all the previous recording that you've had throughout the day, throughout the month, depending on what you've signed up for in terms of Google Nest Aware cloud services. In settings is where you can dive deeper into what you can do with it. So you got device information, for example. You can go to notifications, where you can do your notification settings. So you got push notifications, which almost acts like a phone call when there's a notification. So you get it straight away there and then. It's very responsive. It's very instantaneous. And then you got away only notifications. So this will try and spot when you're not at home, and it would only give you notifications when you're actually away from home, based on other things that's happening. Not the doorbell. So if someone taps the doorbell, it'll still come through. But in terms of spotting things that's happening around the area. So another area that I like is zones. So with zones, you definitely have to set this up, because if you don't set up the zones, your battery will drain quicker. So you don't want it to be noticing what's happening everywhere. You just want to note where the little areas are on your door. So this is not a CCTV camera, so don't buy this as a safety CCTV camera. There's Google Nest camera that you can buy for that, but this is actually purely just a doorbell. So people that are saying it doesn't have 24/7 recording, you don't need it because it's meant to be a doorbell. So bear that in mind. Well, going back to that zone settings, so in here you can change the zone. You can draw a zone around the areas where you actually want this to pick up things. So for example, I've narrowed mine down to just literally my staircase and the front door. So if nothing's happening in that area, I don't get any notifications. So I've disabled the notification for outside that area. In here, you can then do things like people, including familiar faces. So this has got facial recognition. So over time, it will start picking up faces of people that are visiting the house. So whether it's my neighbors or maybe like friends and family, I can then store it and say this person's there. So next time I get a notification, it might say Tommy's at the door or my brother's at the door, which I won't say his name. You also get packages as well. So you can toggle that to be on. So when someone's got a package, so like a delivery man, you'll be able to know that there's a delivery man at the door with a package to actually answer the door. So with this as well, it works best with rectangular packages on the ground, but I found that it's worked pretty much all the time when my Royal Mail delivery man turns up at the door with a tiny box or a big box or just a letter. I know that someone's at the door with a package. Furthermore, you got animals and vehicles and motion as well. Those I've turned off completely because I don't have a pet, for example. So if you had a pet, you'd be able to turn this on to notice when your dog's maybe in and out, or cat. I don't know if that's a thing. But yeah, you can turn that off completely like myself. So again, that will save your battery life, and motion detection as well. It will save battery life in that area. So going into battery settings, you can then see how long you got left in your battery. You got automatic battery saver, which would, if the battery life is less than 7 days, your doorbell will only record when it's pressed. So again, these are little things that's been added to help the battery life last as long as possible on here. But like I said, I've been averaging about 4 weeks of usage. I've seen people last way longer than that, but maybe I just have a busy door, who knows. And then it shows you battery usage, which if you go into that, you've got different settings. So you got more recording, the default, and more battery life. I've opted for more battery life because when I had it on default, it barely lasted 2 weeks on usage, which I moaned about on Twitter if anyone was following me on there. Going back out, we can then go into your events. So in events, you can see your zone, so you can change your zone settings and add a new zone and adjust all that, which you saw earlier. And you can turn on that familiar face detection. And over time, it'll collect different facial recognitions, faces, so you can adjust them and actually name them and manage it and all that stuff, which is cool. I quite like that. It's something that I don't see in a lot of other doorbell as such. So if we go into doorbell settings, you can then do your visitors announcement. So if you have an assistant, Google Assistant enabled speaker at home, this will pop up on there as well to let you know someone is at the front door, something that's similar with other doorbell services as well, like Google, Ring doorbell, etc. They all have that as well. So this is pretty cool. You can have your doorbell theme, you can change the sound, and you can hook this up as well to your indoor chime. If you've got one already, you can hook it up to that, which I don't have. And then we have video recording settings. So you got video history, mine 60 days because I've got the Nest Aware service. You got wake up sensitivity, which I've turned to low to save battery life. Maximum event length is 15 seconds. I don't need any longer than that. I just need to know who was there, how long they were there for, and what they were carrying and what they were up to. Got video quality, which is high. I don't need a maximum. Again, if you set it to maximum, it just means battery life is gonna suffer. And then you got night vision. I've just got mine on auto default because I don't need to do anything with that. It just uses LED, spots them, projects the image, looks really nice. I can see the face and stuff like that. Status light brightness, I've set it to low because I don't want it being an attraction to people walking past at night time or just people minding their business. Maybe a thief minding their business. I don't want them to easily know that it's there. Also, it's just quite distracting when neighbors come through the door and it's just like, why is that flashing at me? But I've just set it to low again, saving battery life. If you go into audio settings, you can turn your microphone on, but if you turn it off, it just means you won't get live audio recording. So definitely turn that on. You got audio recording as well, which is good to hear the audio as well when you do your history, when you go back to what's happened throughout the day, you'll be able to hear the conversation. So if someone's like, if a thief, for example, is contemplating whether to go in, or if that's two of them or something having a conversation, you'll be able to pick that up. And you can adjust camera volume as well from low to high. I've just left mine just a bit, just near high. I don't need it to be that loud because I can still hear it. But that's pretty much it in terms of what you can do in the settings. I think it's very straightforward. And if there's anything bad I have to say about the Nest Doorbell battery, is the battery life doesn't quite deliver that 2.5 months that Google promised, for me anyway. Maybe it's different from you. For you, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I like the design. I like how easy it is to use. It's very responsive, and I can actually rely on it when I'm out and about, even when I'm on 4G. So there's times where I've been driving. You shouldn't use your phone while you're driving, by the way. But there's times I've been driving where I've just quickly tapped to see who's there, and I've just responded. Also, it has quick responses as well, so you can easily just say things like leave the package at the door. But it would have been nice to have custom responses as well, so I can leave things there. Like maybe I'm just going out for the day, and I know that I'm not going to be back for like an hour. If I don't know, repairman turns up, I can literally easily just go, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Give me, bear with me, that kind of stuff. So I can leave my own custom messages. That would be really nice to do. But other than that, I don't really have any many bad things to say. Apart from also, it's easy to steal with the NSC ejector tool, which is getting it, and whoever's lucky is just lucky to grab it and do whatever you want with it. But you still need a backplate for it to actually function. So as you can see, that because it's not on the backplate right now, it's not powered on. You can't power it on. So without that backplate, you can't do that. So you'd have to really unscrew the whole setup to actually take advantage of using this if you happen to steal it. But other than that, that's it for the Nest Doorbell Battery. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you get one of these? It's reasonably priced as well. I'll leave all that information in the description area so you guys can check it out. But yeah, that's it for my review. Thanks for watching. And if this is your first time around here, please do subscribe, smash the like button, hit the bell notification as well. So every time there's a video like this about a doorbell, you get notified as well. I'll see you in the next one.